is there. We have enough cars. This is not the problem. We have enough of sugar, but nobody wants so much sugar. We have 12 different types of razor blades. Nobody wants so many. So in other words, the supply is perfect. It's even sort of oversupply. But what's lacking is demand. It's the hunger that's missing. In other words, exactly a similar situation like in this Velká žranice, where the problem was the lack of hunger. What strikes me as somewhat ironic that our cure to a situation of oversupply and not enough demand is let's cook more and more efficiently, rather than let's stop cooking if nobody wants it and let's take a rest. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, and I give the floor to my co-speaker.
Charles, sorry. I just have a quick question. You talked about Japan, that everyone works very hard and they have great education and everything, and then the GDP is not increasing. Which example of a society or country now or in the past would you say is a society or country which was satisfied, had a good work-life balance, they were happy with what they have, they didn't want more, etc.?
Yeah, so Finland, for example, is a country that artificially slowed down its GDP growth in order to pay back debts. What we've been doing in the last 2 generations is we've been selling stability in order to buy growth. The funny thing is that we succeeded. We created an economy that's fast growing, but extremely unstable. Which reminds me also, if I may answer in the following way. What you read in the newspapers quite frequently is an analysis that the economy is depressed. So here we are entering psychological or psychiatric language, and to me, as a casual observer, this is a fundamental misdiagnosis. The economy is not depressed. If anything, the economy is manic depressed. The economy has a tendency to overdo happy periods into manias, invest everything and go crazy, and it's bad periods into depression. What we know from psychiatry is both of these are equally dangerous. I would even say mania is a little more dangerous because it's very difficult to get the patient to be treated during his manic stages. And this is exactly, by the way, how the crisis started. Remember, please, back with me to 2007 when the crisis started in the United States of America. By the way, it's not a European crisis. It used to be an American crisis. 2007, it was a little bit, the weather was like this. GDP was growing for a record amount of years at the record height in the United States of America. Unemployment was low. Effectiveness was high. Competitiveness up the roof. This was still the time where technology was booming. Steve Jobs was still alive, so Silicon Valley was coming with one idea after another. In other words, macroeconomically speaking, the sky was blue, not a cloud. This, my dear friends, this was the moment when the back spine of the economy snapped. It was not a depression-led crisis, it was a manic-induced crisis. This is how the crisis started. So the Greek example, which is sort of a depression-led crisis, is not a very representative example of what happened. And also you will see, to answer your question, that in economic theory, we have many theories focusing on how to deal with depressions. Most, Keynes wrote about that and others. They tried to cure the depression. Very little research about how to cure manias. Very little do we know about what's happening right now. So yes, absolutely, it has happened. I mean, GDP is actually a very young statistic. GDP is a statistic that is 134 years old. Before that, mankind lived quite happily without knowing how much their GDP was. And do I have 2 minutes? No.
Yeah, you do have.
Okay. Can I do a little test on you? How many of you know whether your personal GDP, in other words, your income, went up or down 2012 to 2013? How many of you know? Okay, so that's about fifth. Which one of you knows by how much exactly? Typical. I've asked now about 4,400 people, McKinsey and Deloitte and people that actually work with money, so they should know. Nobody knows whether his or her personal GDP, his income, went up. They know it's like this, 1/5 knows if it went up or down, but nobody knows by how much. You do. How much? You don't have to say up or down, just say by how much. How much? Exactly 10%, or are you guessing? No, You know, if they ask me to come to TV and tell me what's the economy going to grow next year, I can't say, well, I don't know, plus minus 5%, give or take. No. Now, why don't you know? Don't you know because it's methodologically difficult to know? No, you just take your tax return. Here, of course, there is a strong assumption that your tax return actually reflects the level of your income, but let's suppose that it does. And you delete 2013 against 2012 and you multiply it by 100. But nobody knows. So we don't know, not because it's difficult to know, it's extremely easy to know. We don't know because why? Because we don't care, obviously. Now, what happens, what magic happens between your personal GDP, which is much more important than some abstract Polish or European GDP that has almost no correlation on your level of income, and nobody cares on the more important personal level, and then some magic happens, and in between your personal touch money to abstract GDP, it becomes so important that we are ready to dismantle European Union because some Greek GDP doesn't actually live up to what we expected. So we actually are happy. But we have these fetishized numbers which we have religiously admired and taken out of context. Thank you very much. Sorry.
It's okay. Thank you very much, Tomáš. I think I have to remember you as a very good afternoon speaker.
When he arrives.
If you arrive, yes. Okay, thank you very much. I'd like to now welcome our final panel. This panel is about primacy in leadership, politics, or economics. We have both politicians and economists and business people on the panel. The moderator is the host of the conference, Alexander Kwaśniewski, President of Poland 2005 to 2010. Yes. Mr. Kwaśniewski, if you'd like to come up to the stage. Professor Dariusz Rosati, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Poland, 1995 to 1997. Jacek Socha, Vice President, PWC, PwC Poland. Tomáš Sedláček, President of the Management Board of PESA Bydgoszcz, one of Poland's great success stories. And Tomáš Sedláček from the University of Prague. Thank you very much.
And Paweł Jarczewski.
Oh, sorry, my mistake. And Paweł Jarczewski, President of the Management Board, Grupa Azoty. Sorry about that.
And now huge applause because we need these panelists with us. If you allow, we will speak Polish because majority of this panel are Polish-speaking VIPs. but to make these rules of our panel more equal for everybody, and especially because we have Friday afternoon, my suggestion to all of us is to take off our ties, to be closer to Professor Sedláček, and to have very open, very honest and we look much better. Moje pytanie do pań. Co sądzicie? Prawda, że lepiej? Okay. And now in Polish. Proszę Państwa, kończymy naszą konferencję. Ja myślę, że to były dni bardzo interesujące i za to chcę podziękować organizatorom, czyli Executive Club, panu prezesowi Markowi Michałowskiemu, pani Beacie Radomskiej. Dziękuję również mojej fundacji, panu Ireneuszowi Bilowi i jego współpracownikom, bo ciekawe to było, naprawdę. Oczywiście, dlaczego uważam, że takie dyskusje są szczególnie inspirujące, bo po każdym z tych paneli chciałoby się dodać własny komentarz. Kiedy przed nami tutaj, przed wystąpieniem profesora Sedlaczka kończył się panel o porażkach, no to oczywiście też chciałoby się powiedzieć, no tak naprawdę, i to mówię z perspektywy swojej, a propos, pan prowadząc powiedział, że ja byłem prezydentem 2005-2010. Ten prezydent zginął w katastrofie 5 lat temu. Ja byłem prezydentem 95-2005, 10 lat. Do tej pory jedynym, który 2 kadencje urzędował i jedynym, który wygrał wybory w pierwszej turze reelekcję w pierwszej turze w roku 2000. Ale chcę wrócić do tego poprzedniego panelu. Porażki oczywiście są wliczone w nasze życie i to nie ma co tutaj wiele debatować. Ważne jest to, żeby porażka była